Welcome to our podcast, Urban Legend. In this episode, we delve into the life and career of Kanti. With his innovative approach to dance and art, he has created a unique graphic system that maps the energy of movements. By using his modified shoes with sponge slippers dipped in ink, he is able to transfer his distinctive footwork style into large surfaces, creating artworks that capture the essence of movement. Breaking dance, born as part of hip-hop culture, has often been debated in terms of its classification, art, entertainment, or sport. Through his innovative practice, Kanti demonstrates that it can be all three simultaneously. Can you explain the creative process of using your body motion as a drawing tool, and how have you developed the graphic system you use?
Yeah, so how to explain? Basically, so before I do what I do, I just had the feeling that dance couldn't be immortalized. The only way you had to really immortalize or capture the movement was with photography or video. And I noticed that there is no really tangible artworks made with dance, differently from music. Or with music, you have notes, you have a lot of, but with dance, you didn't have really nothing to immortalize the movement. And that was the feeling that brought me here, and this is where, I was really searching for a way to really capture the movement, but physically, with real material. And so this is where I came up with this idea of, putting my feet in ink and performing my move on the support canvas or paper. But really it came with tries and tries and tries. At first, it was really, the first try wasn't really, I wasn't satisfied with it. And with time it develops. And at first I saw just simple shapes. And by doing it, I saw that the shapes were always different, but had a connection with each other. And this is where I realized, especially with ink, that it looked like glyphs. And when I started to collect all those marks, it looked like a bit like an alphabet. And this is where I really started to create this graphic system, because the more complex the movement will be, the more complex the shape and the trace would be, and really like hieroglyphs in a way. So that's by doing that I created this graphic system, but I didn't came up with this idea of, I will do a graphic system. This is by doing that it appears in a way. That's I think the beauty behind my thing. It was really authentic and organic in a way. If that makes sense.
What was the inspiration behind using ink-dipped sponge slippers to create your movement-based artworks?
How can I say? Like I said, it was really a research. It was really, I didn't really know where I was going. I never knew what it would give. I couldn't expect the result I had today. And I saw some dancers, even break dancers, very famous top b-boys, do it. I saw a very famous one is called Menno. It's from the Netherlands, and I saw a video of him painting and dancing at the same time. But I can't say it was really an inspiration, because it's really different from what I do, and I had to do everything myself. There is everything to discover. And I can't say I really had inspirations with that. It was really, as I said in my previous answer, it was really organic, and it's by doing that I came up with this idea, if that makes sense. The thing is, and these dancers that I saw doing it, to me it was too dirty, meaning they put paint on all of their body, so basically after the session they had to wash, or it was too dirty for me, and I really wanted a practice that is clean, quote unquote. So from the start I wanted to do something that is clean and really aesthetic. So I went to a direction where I wanted to have things on me and not on my body, on my skin. And So I did a lot of research, a lot of tests. And first, the tests were not really satisfying. But I was working in a mall or in the market, and I saw these sponges, these mop slippers that usually you use just to clean the house. And I was like, okay, this might be the great tool because it's flexible. You can put on the shoe, depending on your size. You can clean it, you can reuse it, and it happens to be the best tool for my practice because it was cheap, solid, durable, and the shape it left on the surface was really interesting. So, just by looking and being open-minded, I came up with the right tool, basically.
What kind of message or feeling do you want to communicate through your movement-based artworks?
As I said, the idea is to find another way to immortalize dancing, so to say. So because most of the time, even a choreographer, they use video to share their message to the audience or to other dancers. And I really wanted to have a physical way of immortalize the dance. So, how can I say? And like the feeling I want to convey is, I think, is really simplicity and honesty. By that I mean honesty because, for me, when I perform, I perform my steps in one breath. So basically, when I dance, when I perform my move on the canvas, I don't redo anything. So if I mess up, or I don't know, sometimes the paper can slip or the canvas can, talk a bit, but I leave it as is. So it's really a photography of the moment, and so on the canvas you can see sometimes a small problem that happen, and I think that's interesting because I don't fake it. So for instance, if I do a move and I mess up, you will see on the canvas. But I think for me that is interesting because it's a honest photography of that 10-second moment, if that makes sense. So I want it to be that, I think that's simplicity and honesty. And I want also people to see that you can have like a childish idea, a very simple idea that may look stupid, and with that stupid idea you can still do beautiful things and things that have meanings and power, because I think the world we live in, we tend to give value only to complex things. So everything has to be complex, to be big, to be super complicated. And I think that simplicity has a lot of power too, and a lot more to convey as well.
Do you have specific goals in terms of impact or emotions you want to evoke in the audience?
I don't think I have goals in the fact that I'm on a journey, so I don't really see any destination. I mean, I know what I want to try, I know what I want to do, I know what I want to experiment, but I don't really know where it will lead me, because that is how I started. I just had this feeling, I had this in me, I wanted to try this, but I really didn't know what it would create, what it would become. And I think I still don't know what it will become in the future, because I could, for instance, I would love to collaborate with other dancers, for instance. This is something I would really like to do. I would like to co-create, meaning, for instance, I do a move on the canvas and the other dancers another move, so, but these are ideas and not goals. You see the difference? I think, I think I don't have, I don't really know. I'm just let the flow, I let the energy flows in and, go with the flow, basically. Does that make sense?
What are the challenges and opportunities you encounter in trying to capture the imprint and energy of breaking movements through visual art?
Can you just repeat?
Absolutely.
Just to make sure? Yeah.
No problem. What are the challenges and opportunities you encounter in trying to capture the imprint and energy of breaking movements through visual art?
Okay, opportunity and challenges. Okay, so opportunity, what's great is there is so much to do, because maybe I saw 30 to 40 artists who do a little bit the same thing as me, exploring painting and movement. But there is so much to do in this area, I think, with sculptures, with video art. There is a lot to do and a lot to discover. So I think that's a huge opportunity, and it's not. I mean, it's the beginning of a new art movement, even, I can say. So this is really exciting, because I think we will be more and more to do this type of art in the future. So this is really exciting, I think. In terms of challenges, I would say, as for me, I think a lot of people know my work now, but because I'm a little bit alone in my space, they don't really know where to put me. For instance, when you do painting or graffiti, we can see, like, if you do graffiti, people know that you're a graffiti artist, so they can put you in a category and with all your peers. But me, I'm a little bit alone in my space, so I have the feeling that sometimes institutions, for instance, they don't really know what to do with me. I have the feeling that sometimes people want to work with me, but don't really know what to do with what I do. That's just a feeling. Maybe I'm wrong. But this is one of the main challenges I have, and sometimes it's hard to explain also, because I think it's easy to understand, but sometimes it's easy to understand, but at the same time it's complex to understand. So when I have to explain what I do to people, sometimes I feel that there is a blocker somewhere, but I don't know where. And the challenge is like also physically, like how do you, because I use ink and paper, but I would like to explore other mediums, and I have to do a lot of tests, and I have to, because it's different, applying paints or applying ink with your hand and with a brush is different than when you are standing up and dancing, because the energy is not the same. Painting with the feet is really different from painting with the hands, so it can be challenging at some points. That's...
Do you feel like you belong to the categories you said before, or is there like a third category?
That's a bit my struggle, because at sometimes I feel like I'm a dancer doing painting. Sometimes I feel like I'm a painter doing dance, kind of. Sometimes I feel I really the two. I haven't found any title for my work, really. So that's the main challenge. That's why I call it painting dancing fusion, or I saw art painting or art movement, but I'm not sure that it's really suitable. So that's a great question, because I haven't found a title for it. So I'm a little bit navigating between titles, but I think I would say movement art or dance art would be what suits best.
What emotions and sensations do you experience while dancing and creating your artworks?
Yeah, great question. To be honest with you, I record everything I do. And so anytime I create a new artwork, it's like I'm going live, and it's like it's a micro performance. Every artwork I create is a micro performance. And it's really like, the feeling is really this, it's like peaceful and exciting at the same time, because what I do is really close to calligraphy in a way that I know in advance the move I will do on the canvas or the paper, but I don't know the shape that it will take. So I meditate a lot before going on the canvas. So I put my feet in ink. I go in the canvas, and I meditate. I put myself in the space, and I projecting my moves, So I think a bit, I meditate a bit, and when I feel it's the right moment, then I do the move in one breath. So you have this 5-10 minutes period before I dance where I'm just on the canvas thinking, and it's really meditative. And so it's really interesting, because it's really different from when I dance in front of a crowd, because when you are in front of the crowd, you how can I say, you have the energy of the crowd with you, and so you tend to push and you tend to go harder. Whereas when I'm in the studio, I'm calmer. So I think it's close to calligraphy really, because it's really peaceful, you know. So it's a great feeling. It was a little bit, it was weird. The first times it was weird because it was new, you know. And dance is really, the strength of dance is when you have people around you. It's really, to me, it's a social art. Dance is a social art because dance has no meaning if you dance alone, you know. But paint is really, you're really alone when you're painting. You're alone in your studio with your subjects. And so that was brand new for me. And it was interesting to mix the two, you know.
What kind of relationship do you have with the music you listen to? How influential is it in your life?
Music, I think for all of us, music is like the soundtrack of our lives. So when we go through good or bad moments, the music relates to that moment, I think. I can't really, I don't know how much the music I listen to inspire me. I think it's, you know, really deep, and sometimes it's hard to see how much you are inspired by your music. But when it comes to painting, the funny thing is I don't put music when I dance. That's the funny thing with my practice, because as I am recording myself, I want to hear the noise of my moves on the canvas. So I don't put music so that we really hear the moves, kind of ASMR kind of thing, you know. And that's the funny thing with my practice is I'm dancing but without music. That's where I think comes the complexity of what I do, is because usually you dance because you have music. And I think if you dance without music, it's not dancing, it's just movement. So that's where I'm really in between painting and dancing, because, or maybe I'm behind dancing or before dancing, if that makes sense. So when it comes to my practice, music has no influence. I wanted to detach myself also from this dance. I mean, music can be a little bit a prison for dancers, because, as I said, you can't dance if you don't have music. And that's what is interesting to me, you know, to see. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense to you, what I'm saying. Yeah.
Can you tell us about the connection between your bodily expression and your artistic creativity?
Originally, I'm a break dancer, so I'm a breaker. So I do break dance. Now we call it breaking. That's the new word, breaking. And so breaking is really a practice on the ground. So the floor is really important when you're a breaker. I think that's the strength of my practice. Because how can I say? If you can do what I do with other type of dances, but I think it suits perfectly with breaking, because the whole body is on the floor when you do breakdance, and so this way I have a lot of possibilities. You know, if I was just like if I did, like, for instance, house dance, let's say another hip hop dance. If I was doing house dance, I could have done the same, but you could only use the feet. Whereas with breaking, I can torque my body in any position I want. I can use the hands, the heads, the shoulders, the knees, whatever. And all these part of the body are great way of expression, you know, to map the movement, you know, to leave trace on the canvas. So I think breakdance was a great practice to open the door with this practice, if that makes sense. Like, and breakdance is really, it's in between dance. Breaking is in between art and athletic and sport, you know, because, and I think that's a strength in my practice, because it gives me a little bit of discipline.
How have you addressed the challenges of creating artworks that are tangible and lasting, despite the fleeting nature of dance?
Great questions. This question basically that's the core of what I do. This is why I wanted to address. I wanted to find a way to immortalize a fleeting moment, which is contradictory in a way, and I think the ink calligraphy, I think, was the key for me, because it's really a one breath moment. And I know that many dancers came to me sending me messages saying to me how impressed they were because I was immortalizing the movement in one breath, meaning I couldn't cheat, basically. Because I think that I saw some dancers dancing and painting and dancing and painting, but I think when you do that, you lose this authenticity. And as I said before, this organic thing, and I think that the strength of what I do is really this honesty, like it's not in terms of wording, it's just how to be clear in what I want to say, I mean, I think the challenge was to have something simple, and because I have it. At the beginning, I wanted to do complex things, put a lot of colors, do a lot of moves, do rich artworks. And by discussing with my girlfriend or with some friends, I noticed that I had to remove a lot of colors, a lot of the things that were just, blocking the experience. And when I realized that just black on white was enough, I think that's where the beauty came, really, And I think that's that the lesson I learned is the less you do sometimes, the better. And I think that's the key of what I do is really there is no superficial things in what I do. Just paper, ink. I take a deep breath, I perform my move, and that's basically the experience. And that's where the richness come from, I think, if that answers the question.
What are your sources of inspiration outside the world of dance and visual art? Are there any influences or passions that fuel your creative work?
Directly and indirectly, we are influenced by everything we hear or see. Outside art and dance, I think I'm quite influenced by drawing and, like, especially I would say mangas, like the Japanese culture, because when I was a kid, for instance, I loved to draw. I was really passionate about mangas and all that. And I remember I used to draw a lot, and I know that drawers use a lot of ink. So I think now it inspired me a bit. To be honest, I'm quite inspired by everything I see or hear. I know that music inspires me a lot in terms of even sometimes even people, businessmen or businesswomen or rappers sometimes, especially how they came up, the story of people inspires me a lot. Like, for instance, if I watch an interview or a movie of, a famous person, of someone, this can inspire me a lot indirectly, but just to see that sometimes you can create great things just with a single idea. These are the kind of things that can inspire me a lot.
Can you tell us about your experience in performing Opus 14 by Kader Atu, and how has it influenced you as an artist?
It was the first time I was really doing a big scene, because back in the day I was really I was just doing I was only training, going to jams, going to battles, and I was really really obsessed and interested in it, because back in the day, like when you were a breaker, battle is really the most important thing when you're a breaker, because this is where you learn, this is where you share, this is where you meet people, this is where you learn, basically. And this is where the jams and the battles are where, the culture lives. And the scene in front of a crowd was quite different from me. It was quite far from me. And the opportunity to do the first part of Caderatu was really, it was by chance that I had the chance to do it. And the feeling was really different because when you are in a jam or when you are in a battle, you are against someone. And the crowd is watching you dancing against someone, and this is this energy that fuels the crowd, But where you are in front of the crowd, you speak directly to the crowd. And so the outcome is really different. And especially after this it was a 10-minute show that I did with my partner. We were just two on the scene. It was only 10 minutes, and we had a lot of great answers from the response from the public after our performance. Many people came to us saying to us, "It was beautiful, thank you." So it was new for me. It was good to see that you can provide good things to people. I had this feeling that, okay, I healed people, I helped people in a way, and it was really the first time I could experience that strong. So I think it pushed me to become an artist, because I really realized that when you are an artist, you can do good things to people, different from, where you are working in a company. I'm not saying it's not bad, but it spoke to me. Really, these people coming to me thank you, it was beautiful, thank you, stars in the eye. I was like, okay, that's inspiring,
How do your training and previous experiences in the field of dance and performance influence your current work?
Honestly, I think it's not just my past as a dancer has not just influenced, it's just the core of what I do. I couldn't do what I do now without all these years of training, jams, travels. That's why it's so important to me, because it's really what you see on canvas or on the paper is really all my story in a way, because the move I do, the move I perform while painting are the move I could do during jams or during trainings. These are really my specialty, the move that you see me doing. These are my specialty. That's all these years of training, of dancing, I developed this dance. And this is it that I put on top of the canvas. So the shapes of the move, the glyphs you see are the results of all these years of dancing. And that is why it's so important to me. Because, so I couldn't talk about influence. It's just the heritage or the inheritance of all that you see now. That makes sense.
What synergies could there be between your work and other art forms?
I think it's endless. The possibilities are endless. For instance, I would love to collaborate with other dancers first, of course. I would love to collaborate with musicians for performances, especially. It can be, I think, with this dance arts form, I can collaborate with graphic designers. I could collaborate with fashion or designers. Even I don't know. I could collaborate with any type of creative process, basically, and I don't really know what kind of outcome it could be, but I think the possibilities are endless, and I would really love to. I could also collaborate with photographers to do light painting, for instance. I know that some dancers do light painting. They do light painting, in the dark, and then they print the results on aluminum, for instance. I know a Japanese b-boy breaker who does that. I don't know, I think the possibilities are endless, and I would love to explore this path.
Can you talk about the artwork you created for the project produced by Honiro Art Gallery?
So the work I produced for Honiro was basically, the intention was to because now 2023 is the 50th anniversary of the creation of hip hop. This artwork is a homage, or maybe not a homage, but evokes a hip hop. And as I am now living in Paris, as you can see on the artwork, you can see my work on top of the Parisian metro map. And why the Parisian metro map is because the Parisian metro has a strong history, especially with graffiti artists that used to paint a lot on the Parisian metro. And so having this map of the Parisian metro is really to say that this is linked to the history of hip hop, especially in France, but not only in France, in many major cities where hip hop arrives. Metro has a lot of connection with the culture, in a way, the hip hop culture, I mean. And so having to paint and dance on top of this map was really like how can I say? Yeah, like a homage, kind of, to this connection between graffiti artist and the metro. And something surprising happened when I performed is you can see many of the names through the ink, and this is interesting to me because it creates a different level of lectures of the artwork. You can it's not just the ink on top of the map, it's really the ink into the map. And I think artistically it's interesting because you can navigate between the two images, so.
How did you approach the 50 hip hop project, and what goals did you set for yourself?
I wanted to stick true to my dance. That's what I always do. I wanted to have something, how can I say? I wanted to have, even if it's for the 50th anniversary of hip hop, I wanted to keep it simple. I try to in everything that I do, I try to not overdo anything, and I wanted to keep the same mindset, especially for this event, because to me it's important to be, how can I say that? Yeah, to me it's important to be simple and to be honest and not to overdo things, especially for big occasions, because I noticed that for big occasions sometimes we tend to do more and to do bigger, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted to keep it simple, to keep it efficient, and to deliver something that is very close to what I do every day. So that's basically how I approach it.
How do you manage the balance between the commercial aspect and artistic authenticity in your work? Have you faced challenges in making sure your art is appreciated by the audience without compromising its integrity?
That's a great question, because I think that's the challenge every artist has. To me, you can't, when you're an artist, you can't compromise. There is no compromise. Art comes first, to me. Of course, you have commissions, you have projects, and sometimes you have to talk your art to meet some requirements. But I think if you do it too much, then you lose your art in a way. And to me, it's really important that your art stays the same, because if people come to you for your art, it's for your art. So what's the point in coming to someone to have something that is completely different from what he does? So to me, I had the issue sometimes, especially for a performance, especially when sometimes people want to book me for performances, and often they ask me, oh, can you do longer, or can you put colors, or can you, and sometimes I have to decline or say that I don't, because for the moment, at that moment, I don't use so much colors. it's really one breath, so it's really short. So I can't make it longer just to make it longer, because otherwise it loses the core, you know. And sadly, it is frustrating sometimes because I can lose opportunities. But I think it's really important because otherwise I just offer a service and I don't offer art any longer. You see what I mean? So it is challenging. Yes, it is challenging, especially with me because, for instance, a painter is more flexible than me. That's, I think, the main negative aspect of my practice is it's not flexible. I mean, it is flexible, but it's way harder for me to adapt than any other artist, I think.
What has been the reaction of the audience and the artistic community to your movement-based artworks? Have you encountered any unexpected reactions?
It depends. I think it depends on the community that saw my work. Like, I think dancers were really impressed because many dancers came to me saying that I did what they always wanted to do, but they never knew how to do it. So I know that many came to me like, oh, he found a way to do it. Like, I never knew how to, but he did. So they were really like impressed. I know that, for instance, in my audience, I have a lot of dancers, graffiti artists, graphic designers, and tattoo artists also. And the funny thing is, each of these communities don't see the same thing, you know, with my work. And how can I say it? Everything was a surprise, and at the same time, it wasn't surprising to me because I never expected nothing. If that makes sense. I was really, I mean, I was a bit afraid of what the hip hop community would say first, because I am a dancer, I'm part of the community, and I was like, I wondered how the hip hop community would take what I do. And I think I was pleasantly surprised to see that they saw it quite well. They received it well, I mean, most of them.
How do you feel about the interest and attention you have gained on social media, with your videos being viewed millions of times worldwide? How has this influenced your career and the way you approach your art?
And how do I feel? To be honest, I was really happy because, of course, if you are on social media posting every week, the purpose is to grow your audience. So when I finally could grow my audience, I was happy, I was satisfied because I was like, okay, so this is working. What I feel is, what the good thing, I think it was people were really surprised and intrigued. That's really the feeling I had. They never expected that, especially the Top Shot videos. The format of Top Shot videos, really short, worked really well on social media, and I think it drew the attention of many people. Like it raised the interest a lot, and I can feel that many people are interested, but don't know really how to react. How can I say they're really surprised. That's the main feeling I could experience when looking at the comments or the reactions. It was really like, oh, never saw that, or it's really this the wow effect. I really received the wow effect on social media. Has it influenced my career? Of course, because not so much, but of course because especially today when you have numbers on social media, people tend to take you more seriously, which can be a little bit awkward sometimes because you can have numbers on social media but not really advance in your career. And many people are confused. Many people think that because you have numbers, you have a career, which is not really always the case. But as for me, it was really, for me, it was more an indicator. Like seeing that it was working, I was like, okay, I'm in the right direction. So it pushed me to continue basically and to explore new ways. And I was afraid that going viral would at the beginning I was afraid that going viral would distract me from where I wanted to go, but it did not. So I'm happy I stayed consistent, I stayed focused, and it was a good experience, to be honest. Yeah.
What do you think about the definition of dance as art, entertainment, sport, and all of them simultaneously? How do you see the role of dance in today's artistic landscape?
It depends. I think it might depend on the type of dance. To me, dance is more an art than a sport. Regardless of the category, regardless whether it is hip-hop or classic, or to me it's more art. But when it comes to breaking, I think the line is more blur, because as I said, breaking is really athletic, especially with the Olympic Games, for instance. Now breaking will be in the Olympic Games from next year on, because you know that for the Games of Paris, it will be the first time that breaking will be at the Olympic Games. And then the debate is, okay, so is breaking an art or is breaking a sport? Because if breaking is at the Olympic Games, then it becomes more than a sport than an art. I mean, maybe for the public, But I think it's the beauty with it. Like, people give themselves the definition. I know that for some dancers, breaking is more a sport than an art. But for me, it's not the case, for instance. And I like that. And the place of dance today, I think dance is getting more and more interest with time. I think the COVID might have had an impact, because with COVID in 2020, people were really separated from each other. And so everybody went on social media, or more on internet than before ever. And I think many people realize that doing something with your body or in front of a crowd is really important. And I think many people realize that after COVID. And we can see, especially on social media, we can see the booming interest in dance today. So I think it will continue to increase. And not only dance, I think any art that is performative will gain interest, because because it's really tangible. I mean, it's real, because it's us. You can watch a movie, you can see actors, real actors, but it will be on screen. It will be digital in a way. And I think many people need this, to see someone real moving, if that makes sense. Yeah.
What are your future goals as an artist? Are there any new challenges, techniques, or projects that you are exploring?
So short term, I would love to do more performances in front of crowds, because painting alone in your studio is really different from painting in front of a crowd. So I would like to do it more. I would like to push it. I think short term, I would like to collaborate with more artists, doing master classes, like bringing dancers together and creating artworks with dancers. I would love to do that, because the moment you have with the dancers can live on. You can create an artwork that will live on. You can create video that will live on. You can do an exhibition of the session. For instance, if I do a sessions with 10 artists, we can do an exhibition with the 10 artists, for instance, for a week or for more week. So this is really something I would like to push. Maybe, and I don't know, maybe in the future having my own gallery, I don't know, specialize in movement art, for instance. That would be something I would love to have, maybe also doing a show, like a 20-30 minute show with many dancers, with having a huge canvas on the floor in front of the audience and having a choreography. So many options I would love to. I hope I would have enough time in my life to explore all that, but yeah, these are ideas, for instance.